I wanted to discuss how the California Legislature complies with Prop 54's 72-hour in print requirement. So Proposition 54 was enacted by California voters at the November 26th general election, and it adopted constitutional and statutory changes that deal with amendments to bills and also recordings of legislative proceedings. So how does the California Legislature comply with the bill amendment provision, that is Prop 54's 72-hour in print requirement? Let's first take a look at the official ballot materials. Prop 54, whose title was the California Legislature Transparency Act, included a number of findings and declarations as part of the ballot measure. For example, those findings included that it is essential to the maintenance of a democratic society that public business be performed in an open and public manner, and highly desirable that citizens be given the opportunity to fully review every bill and express their views regarding the bill's merits to their elected representatives before it is passed. According to the Attorney General's ballot summary, Prop 54 did the following: prohibits the legislature from passing any bill unless published on internet for 72 hours before a vote, requires legislature to record its proceedings and post on internet, authorizes use of recordings, fiscal impact, one-time cost of $1 to $2 million, and ongoing costs of about $1 million annually to record legislative meetings and make videos of those meetings available on the internet. Now, according to the official ballot summary, a yes vote on Prop 54 meant that any bill, including changes to the bill, would have to be made available to legislators and posted on the internet for at least 72 hours before the legislature could pass it. The legislature would have to ensure that its public meetings are recorded and make videos of those meetings available on the internet. A no vote on this measure meant that rules and duties of the legislature would not change. Now, according to the official ballot arguments, the pro side said Prop 54 stops special interest surprise legislation from passing the other legislative house without 72 hours for review. Prop 54 posts all the legislature's public meetings online, so voters can review legislators' public action. A bipartisan coalition of good government, taxpayer, minority business, and environmental groups back Prop 54, and it doesn't require any new tax money. So, what were the main arguments of the proponents of Prop 54? The proponents of 54 were specifically concerned with the so called gut and amend bills that contain what they described as last minute amendments to bills that are frequently used to push through political favors without comment or with little advance notice. Moreover, complex bills are often passed before members of the legislature have any realistic opportunity to review or debate them, resulting in ill considered legislation. A wide variety of groups actively supported the adoption of Prop 54 by the voters, including the California Chamber of Commerce, which cited as its support requiring the legislature to post each bill online in its final form for at least 72 hours before voting on it would give legislators time to review the legislation, to hear from their constituents, and be held accountable for the laws that they pass. Let's now look to the findings and declarations as well as the statement of purpose of Prop 54. So Prop 54 contained a number of findings and declarations, including two of them of particular interest. A, it is essential to the maintenance of a democratic society that public business be performed in an open and public manner, and highly desirable that citizens be given the opportunity to fully review every bill and express their views regarding the bill's merits to their elected representatives before it is passed. Second, in the B, they said, however, last minute amendments to bills are frequently used to push through political favors without comment or with little advance notice. Now, Prop 54 contained other findings and declarations and a number of statements of purpose, but here was one in particular, subdivision C in the statement of purpose. Moreover, complex bills are often passed before members of the legislature have any realistic opportunity to review or debate them, resulting in ill-considered legislation. To give us, the people and our representatives, the necessary time to carefully evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of the final version of a bill before a vote by imposing a 72-hour public notice period between the time that the final version is made available to the legislature and the public and the time that a vote is taken, except in cases of a true emergency that have been declared by the governor. So what is exactly the language of Prop 54? Prop 54 adopted 2 amendments to the California Constitution, followed by 2 amendments to the California Government Code. Now, each set, one for the Constitution and one for the Government Code, each set dealt with bill amendments and the other, the recordings of public meetings. In Article 4, Section 8 of the California Constitution, they add several provisions, including that no bill may be passed or ultimately become a statute unless the bill with any amendments has been printed, distributed to the members, and published on the internet in its final form for at least 72 hours before the vote. So, as we conclude, let's explain Prop 54's provisions and how the legislature complies. Pursuant to the text I just reviewed, the ballot measure Prop 54 required an amended bill to be published on the internet. Notably, pre-existing law already required the amended bill to be printed and distributed to legislators. But the term printed had been interpreted to mean the bill could be in mock-up form, photocopied and placed on the desks of the members of the Assembly and Senate for their final review before voting. In other words, it could be placed on a desk even if members were not necessarily present at their desk that day. So though these requirements were not changed by Prop 54, it's no longer the practice of either house to print bills even in mock-up form and distribute them to the members of the legislature. Instead, they're made available to members, that is, the elected legislators in the Assembly and Senate, on their laptop computers, which are on their official desks on the Assembly and Senate floors. Now, Prop 54 did add the requirement that the amended bill must be published on the internet, which was implemented and usually occurs the evening of the same day that the bill was amended in whichever house. However, as the legislature deals with bills needing to be acted upon shortly after the 72 hours actually expire, there are a number of instances each year when amended bills are posted on the internet within minutes of being amended. So as a result of this, amended bills are published on the internet and distributed not only to members of the legislature, but also to the general public, and that's the way the California Legislature has been able to comply with the requirements of Proposition 54.